Yes, anything good? Man, that mark is going up, isn't it? It is going up. Holy smokes. Excuse me. All right, so first hour's over, rules established. Everyone's feeling good. You guys going to show me pictures? Did anybody take that medium probability trade? Nice, 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 nice. Can't wait to see the pictures. But guys, what I am going to do is I'm going to scroll to the top, and I just want you to see this. This is what I have to do to get up to the top, and I'm going to go back and forth. Answer a question, go to the top, answer a question, go to the top. So I want you guys to do me a favor, pinky swear. If I miss your picture, if I miss a question, if I don't comment on something that you needed a comment on, I want you to let me know. It's okay. It's never on purpose, but I just need you guys to let me know so that I don't mess things up. Gary got us started today. Gary, absolutely amazing. Guys, look at this. $1,000 on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different. Guys, that's a $10,000 day yesterday. Gary, congratulations. Nice work. And why is Gary consistent? Because Gary annotates the heck out of charts. Gary doesn't just take pictures of his trade and hopes that he magically gets better. Annotates everything. Everything. Man, that's a 50-50. There's multiple divergences. I couldn't gauge an advantage, therefore, I did nothing. What an amazing concept. And then he says, the advantages are clear. I'm going to get paid. And then, Gary, that's that 50-50 without divergence. Remember, that's that at the area trade. Nice job. And then one more time for good measure, guys. I love it when you guys show off and brag and you tell me, Mark, look at my day. Look what I did. Look how I'm doing. I get excited. I'm like a proud papa. Pivot stop out, not from a key area on crude. 50-50 trade from what's not a great top. Couple divergences on a 50-50. Not taking that trade, right? I'm not sure. No market flow, no trade. You're saying I still may if I get a signal, but you didn't get a signal and you stayed out. Gary, solid chart reading, solid execution. Great job. Ron, who happens to be a firm believer in odds favorable momentum and a clear path. I love it. And look at that. 3 divergences. 3 divergences in the same location may reverse the market. Ron says, when everything's screaming, I know that the market's likely to continue. Everything has giddy up to the downside, hasn't hit anything. I know I have a clear path. And because there's blue Fibonacci right there, I know where I need to get the heck out of the market. Ron, as usual, beautiful. And guys, I want to say something, and I tell this every day, just to make Ron blush, really. But every chart, every trade that's posted by Ron looks exactly the same. It's not even, I won't even say he's the king of momentum trades. Ron's the king of consistency. I would consider Ron a successful trader. Ron has a plan. He's written out what it's going to take to get him in and out of the market. And then if it doesn't happen, he doesn't take it. Guys, you don't see any entries here, do you? Quick in, quick out. Guys, that's $200. That's all it is. $200. But if this happens 10 times a day, and I promise you it happens 10 times a day, that's a good week, isn't it? Any of you guys go golfing at the nice course at $40,000 a month? So it's not about more trades. It's about the best trades, the trades that you're comfortable with, the trades that provide you an advantage, and a trade that you can repeat over and over and over and have the expectation of winning more than you're losing. Nice job, Ron. Ron doesn't really take these trades. He's good at Photoshop, I'm pretty sure. Nobody can be that consistent. All right, Jose, let's see what you did. Jose, odds favorable, no termination condition, entry at the area, stop where the market shouldn't go. Let me do something real quick. Did it? I didn't have it on mine either, Jose. Whoops. Let's go through this real quick. Is the market coming from a good top or bottom? I'm not sure, but it's not mandatory. Odds favorable momentum? Yes. No termination conditions? Yes. That's a yes. Area for entry? Yes. Jose, I would lose this trade with you 1,000 out of 1,000 times. I wouldn't even hesitate to take this trade. In fact, I would be a little flabbergasted when it lost. Not really, because I know that I've got to give some back, right? This is just a cost of doing business. This is part of that 30%. Every time, Jose, I would take this trade. Nice job. You know what? So much so. Let me close that out. I would take this trade every time, so much so that I'm going to steal your picture and I'm going to put it in my spreadsheet of what a perfect entry looks like. Because, man, that was amazing. That was a perfect high probability trend trade short, and I'm going to put it in there. It didn't work. It wouldn't have helped, Paul, because the top of the window was the mid-band, and it still went pretty far outside of where that market is likely to continue. Yeah. Just a cost of doing business. Great trade, Jose. Thank you for posting that. It's not so painful to post a loser, is it? A lot of great information in those losers. Sometimes it just feels good hearing that you did everything right. Gary, waiting for a pullback. We know how that one turned out. It was pretty good. Hopefully you readjusted as that mid-band adjusted. Pivot from space, termination condition, just a whole lot of nothing going on. Gary saying my rules aren't met, therefore I'm not taking a trade. Hardest thing to do is to do nothing. All right, Sophia. In at 49.50, out at 49.50. All right, guys, so because of new, not fully confident. So guys, this is a great lesson. Sophia, this is a great lesson. So yesterday, and guys, remember, I don't forget anything, and I'm sorry for that. Yesterday, you said, I don't move my stop until my first target is hit. You remember that? That's okay. Didn't I tell you guys the first time you go live, it's going to change it, isn't it? It's going to change how you feel in a trade. Sophia, you got that same anxiety, right? You got those sweaty palms. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to make money. Yes. So this is 100% normal. It's 100% natural. And this is what most people do when they go live for the first time. And guys, feel free to jump in and back me up on this one because we've all done it, right? We go live for the first time and we stop worrying about the process and we worry about that stupid little P&L number right here. It's going up, it's going down. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's so true. So Safia, what you're going to do, how confident are you in this entry? I know, I totally get it. How confident are you in this entry? You feel good about it, right? Yeah, of course you do. You nail this entry. Does it win more than it loses? Yeah? Okay. Does it almost always hit $100 when you take the best entry with these advantages? Of course it does. Guys, these are rhetorical questions. But this is how I have to talk to myself too every time I trade. Because I want to make money just like you. There's going to be this moment, Safia, and it's coming really soon for you, where you trust this so much that you don't care if this wins or loses, because in your heart of hearts, you believe that this trade is going to win more than it loses. And you're going to get to the point where you start letting it do what it's doing, right? You're going to start saying, oh my gosh, with all these advantages, I have to take this trade. With all these advantages, I'm not going to move it. Today's different though, Safia. Yesterday, you were using the VR controller, right? Today, you're flying solo in the great blue beyond. But great entries create manageable trades. You're going to trust it. You just have to get over that little moment of, oh my gosh, I'm on Apex. Beautiful trade, beautiful picture. And what a fantastic reminder that you are really good at what you do. And you are really good at entries. And because you have that great entry and because of this momentum and nothing in the way, this one's going to the target more often than it isn't. You'll learn to trust it. Great job, Safia. Thank you for posting that too. Gary, 50-50 trade with divergence. You didn't get a pullback to the mid-band or fib and a market flow signal, so no trade. Overanalyzing, medium probability trade, and you were just like, ugh. Guys, let's talk about a pattern real quick. Yesterday, I was being kind of a goofball, and we identified this as the Pineski because it makes me laugh. And Ron's absolutely right. Pucker factor, right? The first time you go live, the first time you have a skin in the game, guys, you're going to need a steam cleaner to get the pleat out of your chair. It's just different. Check this out, guys. Pivot stop out with strong triggers and everything going up. It typically takes out the previous pivot. And it does, doesn't it? Creates a pivot stop out down at the bottom. When I'm looking at these medium probability trades, Gary, and all you guys that are taking them, if I have every advantage, like things are still going up, everything's good, area's likely to hold, I can use this pattern, a pivot stop out on a smaller, faster chart, to give me an idea of where that pullback's coming. This white arrow, I'm going to make it white, represents the pivot low here. So I start looking for my medium probability trade at the area below that pivot. It's a pretty cool look. And it's easy to overanalyze this one. And Gary, since it is outside of favorable large triggers and it's not really screaming, I don't think that's a horrible one to skip. But I think that even when we don't take trades, yeah. And what else, Gary? It lined up perfectly with an HVA, didn't it? And it lined up with a stranded seller at an HVA, at support, with everything up. So after the fact, it's pretty easy. Guys, in the moment, If all you say is my rules aren't met, I'm not taking this trade, then congratulations. It's better to miss a couple that don't fit the rules than to keep taking trades, you know? Folger, let's see what you did. Slow link. Guys, this is class. This is what we do Monday through Friday. Marshall, where are your pictures? Gary, you've been picky. You know that's a sign that you're on your way to success. All right, I'm going to try it again, Folger. I'm going to have you run a lap if I can't get this to go. There it is. Let's see what we have. 13-2 says odds favorable momentum. 13-2 says clear path. You're taking a momentum style trade here, Folger. All right, so let's talk about something cool. You ready? I don't know why I always ask you guys if you're ready. I don't care if you're ready or not. I'm going to talk about it. All the advantages here, right? Everything says giddy up. Folger, why weren't you in at the area of resistance inside of favorable large triggers? You just missed it? No worries. So if you have to wait for a reversal bar to create a window of opportunity, no worries. You haven't even had a bar print yet as you get in. And I'm not saying that this is a bad trade, but what I want to remind you guys is that this is your best, right, Folger? That's the one that you don't want to miss. Because if you were in at 52.75, down here, you're already up $100. You're already money in the bank. You're break even. There's absolutely nothing that can go wrong in the world if you just catch that best of the best. So guys, this is why I say we're focusing on entries. Now what you've done is you've gotten in at the bottom of the window, which is cool, but you've already had one slowdown. You've already had, now you're at a pivot stop out, right? And if this pivot stop out is true, and I don't know if it happened, guys, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. If that pivot stop out is true, the market has the potential to bump up to this area, right? Doesn't it? What was that, crude oil? That was the S&P? Or maybe that was gold. I didn't look. Oh, that was the S&P. Okay. And that did happen. Patterns, right? So what a great reminder. When did that happen? Was that yesterday? Or was that this one right here? Yesterday? Okay. What a great reminder that a little focus on entries, great entries create manageable trades. You could have been in at 52.75 and you're already up 2.5 points. And then you're making decisions again. Great job, though, Folger. Great picture. Every trade has a lesson, guys. Win, lose, or draw. Every trade has aggressive. Oh, there it is, the Pineski. Dun, 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 dun. Pivot, stop out, weaker triggers. Sure enough, it goes up and takes out the previous pivot. What a great pattern. What an awesome opportunity to make good decisions, right? Mary rocks. Ah, you're so full of yourself, Mary. I love it. Odds favorable. No termination conditions. Tick or two below resistance. You went for it. It looks like it didn't get there, right? You missed your entry, so you got in with market flow confirmation. Everything screaming to the downside. and you still took it. Mary, way to keep your head in the game. Way to say that everything says this thing's going down. And you're like, I can still make money here because of the advantages on the 13-2, right? 13-2 leads the way. Can't say that enough. Everything says this market's going down, guys. Mary didn't get her entry. Missed her by a tick. She said, to hell with that. This is still the right trade. This is still everything right. Pineski is one of your tags on Snagit. I love it. Paul, we're going to make you famous, man. Mary, beautiful trade and great heads-up trading, staying in the fight there. Folger, everything says up and it pulls back to support inside of favorable large triggers, and you say, doggone it, these are the easiest trades ever. I'm going to make some money. Hit the first target, got to the area where the market is likely to stop, right? Isn't using these key areas a great target? Folger, I love this. Easy money. And we had that pink line at what? 57.25? I love it. Just take the money. Wait for the next trade, right? TTFM. We're in this to get paid. Beautiful job. Guys, when you can identify where the market is likely to go, that's a great spot to take money, right? It's a great target. Jose, just didn't get you. Man, medium probability trade, everything's screaming up, and it just didn't get you. Rats. That happens sometimes. Who says rats? Paul says, hey, Mark, do you have thoughts on this? Paul, have I ever not had thoughts on anything? I love my thoughts. Let's see what happened. Not here. Not here either. Paul, you want to know my thoughts on this? And I'm only going to use your NinjaTrader 7 for this. And I'm going to take a picture. First of all, I want to say great patience. You did an awesome job of sitting on your hands. Not yet. Not yet, right? So those are the problems. Let's make a green arrow for the things that are good. Ready? There's a termination condition that creates a full reversal. There's a second loss of momentum from a higher pivot. Paul, there's a third loss of momentum from a higher pivot. How amazing is that? What else happened? Every trigger line up, smalls up, small above the large, smalls up, large up. Paul, what you did is you absolutely nailed. Let it clear, and then take that entry. I also, and this is just me, and my plan's not your plan because we're totally different people. I like that one too, on only two. And actually right here, I would have been waiting for the pivot stop out for the Pineski. And at this point, I'm willing to go. But right here where the smalls break above, right where you got in, dude, that's beautiful. And then, was there a management challenge? Quick profits. There's your pivot stop out. And then it goes. I know how you got break even there. But at this point, you're anticipating the breakout, right? You've already made money. There's no risk on the trade. These are the trades where I might keep a stop in place. Me personally, because of every advantage, because of all these higher divergences, because every chart agrees up, and because the smalls are outside of the large. It's 3 divergences, but guys, I couldn't even get weak triggers. This is the one where I may hold just a little bit longer, Paul. Because in the reality, what's the difference between this entry and this entry? Really nothing, right? I love this trade. Love everything about it. Nice job. That's it. Yeah. Dude, Paul, you read it perfect. You let your chart reading lead the way, and then you made a decision based on your management plan to exit, break even after the first profits. And that's hard to do sometimes, isn't it? Marshall, I love that you put a picture in and said watching when I'm like, Marshall, where are your pictures? You're like, dag nabbit, I just got called out. So let's talk about this look right here. For you new users, when a market is trending strong, and when I say trending strong, I mean 30 bars in the same direction. I mean 2 or 3 Fibonacci areas have been smashed through. When the market is trending strong, you're going to see that look. One of your lines in the small triggers, the highest line in a long position or in a uptrend, is going to be railing right along that large trigger, and you're going to see the dashes through it. This is a strong trending market. When I have a strong trending market, I'm still going to look for areas to trade, pull back inside of favorable large triggers until I reach a fib, until I start getting losses of momentum, until I get those reversal bars. So Marshall, what you're looking at here is this super strong trending market. And they weren't quite getting to the area, right? But until I get a full reversal bar on this, my only thought is long. Long, 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 long. Give me a mid-band. I'll keep buying it until it doesn't work, guys. What's the difference? And I see this a lot. A strong trending market at a fib. Guys, if I'm at a strong trending market and it's 50-50, that's it. The only 50-50 look that I take, and Paul, this used to be your favorite. The only 50-50 look that I take is that crazy strong odds favorable momentum. A strong trending market is great when there's no other problems and you get that mid-band to try to keep going in the direction. But when those trigger lines work in, guys, and you get to fibs, don't start playing the 50-50 game. And there it is, right? Don't start playing, well, the smalls are through, but the large aren't, and it's a strong trending market. Your 5-1 told you no dice. But I've seen a lot of people, well, but Mark, it's a strong trending market. Well, dag nabbit, you paid good money for these fibs, guys. Use them. Strong trending markets end. Now we have divergence, right? What does a divergence mean? It means a loss of momentum. A loss of momentum means that it may push lower. 3 divergences in the same location says it may push lower. Where's a great potential spot for that thing to push before we start thinking about continuation for the market? I can use Fibonacci once again. Pretty cool, right? So Marshall, great observation. Strong trending market all the way up, and then that small chart. Boom, right to it. Holy smokes. Patterns, patterns, patterns. All right, Gary. Triggers are above the fibs, not an HVA short. Yep. It's a momentum style. You could maybe, no, because you don't even have any momentum. It's just a hold it and wait, a wait and see, right? Guys, sometimes the market's going to go without you. Actually, a lot of times the market's going to go without you. Was this overrun or is this a bad top? It's not a strong top, but was it overrun? Multiple divergences suggest that it may have been, right? This divergence suggests that it may have been. But now you're coming into a 50-50 at your first target spot. Right now, you guys are scrambling through your notes. What does my plan say about 50-50s? What's it say about 50-50s that aren't coming from solid terminations? As a brand new user getting into a 50-50 trade, this was my approach. It doesn't have to be yours. If the rules are met, but I only have an area with the potential to break, guys, this is my small issue. My money's worth a perfect entry on the 5-1. My money is worth no divergence, tiny little window of opportunity, strong triggers, my money is worth not giving up any more advantages. That's just me. So for me, as a brand new user, if I had this limit order waiting because this divergence prints, I'm willing to not take this trade. That's just me. Some of you are going to take this thing and manage it assertively. Some of you say, I couldn't care less. Look at the momentum. My plan as a new user keeps me out of this trade. That's just me. Because this market has been screaming up the whole day. And it overran that key area. And I knew that this was my first target. You still can't get rid of it, Tony? Have you right-clicked and canceled orders? You've tried. I'm sure you've tried all that, right? For me, the reboot has always worked. Guys, if anybody's had this problem and you can help out, let me know. Yeah, at that point, maybe call NinjaTrader. I had it once, but the reboot fixed it. I'm just trying to think. You know what? And let's do this too, just for grins. Order stuck in NinjaTrader 8. Disconnect NinjaTrader from any open connections. From the NinjaTrader Control Center, select Tools Options, select the Data tab, press Reset Database button, press OK button. Holy Google! Let me know if that works, Tony. You didn't Google the answer? I bet you have a grill in the backyard with extra parts from when you put it together too, huh? We hate instructions. That's what we have teenage children for. Gary, 50-50, you say no signal, no trade. Way to hang out and keep those rules intact, Gary. Makes a difference, doesn't it? If you got in, you knew your trouble spot. Higher divergence. $4,200 sound good to you guys? If you took it and didn't get stop out, you were given a management opportunity. Medium probability. You have to manage assertively, right? How's everybody feel about patterns? What did we learn from the S&P right now? We had this lesson yesterday, guys. A good top comes from below the resistance, not above the resistance. None of the trigger lines break through. Give me a Y if you're comfortable with that. A good top. Triggers don't break the area. If I don't have a good top, look at that. We called it 14 minutes in advance. If I don't have a good top, mid-band, support, guys, this is my first stop. This is a pretty powerful area, especially in a market that's been going up nonstop for an hour. This 50-50 trade has a pretty high mortality rate. If you took it, second loss of divergence. Look at the trigger lines. They're on the other side of the large. My background's green. This is the market saying, all right, seriously, guys, it's a bad top. Stop hoping. Stop wishing. Mary, this was a lesson we had yesterday, right? Did you take it? Nope, didn't take it. And look what it's doing, guys. It may still go down. But I have the ability to study patterns. And when I recognize patterns, I can make good trading decisions based on those patterns. Guys, your ability to make trading decisions based on patterns comes through repetition, comes from experience. Paul says, bad top, 50-50, divergence. He says, I'll take it from the top of the window and risk a few. Money on the way down, money at the trouble spot, divergence prints, GTFO. Beautiful execution of a medium probability trade. Nice job, Paul. Great execution of a medium probability trade. Guys, look at the chart reading. That divergence says that if he's going to take it, he's going to take it from the top of the window because a slowdown may push higher. I love it. You guys are the best students ever. Do you know that? You really are. And watching you guys incorporate the lessons that we talk about every day, for me, is a pretty big kick. I dig it. All right. What's going on in crude oil? It almost looks the same, doesn't it? There's a bad top, not coming from a key area. Price reaches the mid-band and support. And guys, this one, it didn't even force you to make a decision, did it? How many trigger lines made it through that Fibonacci area? See if I can do something that's easier to see. 0, right? So if 0 trigger lines made it through an area, what do we call that? Termination condition. And if I have a termination condition, a brick wall, I like that. If I have a termination condition and I'm a rules-based trader, well, I don't have the advantage of a clear path. And if I don't have the advantage of a clear path, I'm obligated to not take a trade no matter what I want to happen. And once again, my bacon is saved. So what's the likely scenario? If I have a bad top, it didn't make it to Fibonacci resistance, and it pulls all the way back here, the first thing it's going to do is probably close the gap to the large triggers. But this becomes a likely scenario. Let's see if it happens. Let's see if all those buyers finish the move. And even without divergence, look at this. Divergence takes out the previous pivot. It's the Pineski. Dun, dun, dun. But we're not going long. I'm just not going short. 90% of what I do every day is reading my indicators, waiting for an advantage, looking for an opportunity to get into the market, make a little money, get out of the market, call it a day. Smalls above, large below from a termination condition that creates a full reversal. Pull back to the area of support inside of favorable large triggers with no divergence and strong triggers. Anybody take that crude oil? Make some money on it? Hope so. David, you started out 420 down? Let's see what you did. Short on the other side. Oh man, David. This is a totally different looking chart though, isn't it, than it was yesterday? Let's look at it. And we're going to start over here. You entered on the other side of support with odds favorable momentum. David, that was your target, Fibonacci support. So giving all of this back, easy fix. You're in after the problem. You're out before the problem. Rock solid. You're in after the problem. You're out before the problem. Rock solid. You held that one a little long. And then David, not much room to your problem spot here, right? But you had that little jump and you took it right to the problem spot. And then you're holding those a little bit long. David, this is such a dramatic change from where you were yesterday. Really embracing that clear path. Nice job, man. Way to take lessons, get in. And I really think like it's being a little bit of an advantage. The only thing that I might say is remember these blue lines. How much did you give back because you refused to take them all at the blue lines? This style trade gets you to the next key area. Nice job. Gary, you don't have a rule that says from a termination condition with odds favorable momentum, with smalls through the area, with the large up and strong, on an area with the potential to break, with a complete absence of divergence and strong triggers and a small window of opportunity. You don't have rules for that trade? Tony, it worked. Thank you, Google gods. Gary, do me a favor. Take this picture. I'm going to give it to you real quick. Take this picture and put it up against your spreadsheet or your checklist. Drop your checklist on it and run through it. Oh, 1044? What happened at 1044? No, there's nothing to do at 1044. Termination condition, right? Not a darn thing to do. Right on, we're there now, right? Oh my gosh, this bad top, straight to support in a mid-band. Look what it's doing. I wonder if the buyers are looking for that fib from the old Pineski. Sorry, that was kind of my sarcastic voice. Guys, everything that we do revolves around patterns. These patterns repeat themselves every day. Every market, every time frame, over and over and over. The only thing that you have to do is study them. Take pictures of them. And guys, if there's nothing to do, look at this. In my chart reading things, I have a picture that we took yesterday that says 4 lessons, 1 chart. Odds favorable momentum, easy to identify. No triggers through an area. This is a termination condition. And then we talked about the gap theory. We haven't talked about that yet today. When price reaches one of these mid-bands, fibs, and the large triggers are more than a full bar away, price loves to snap back and close that gap, guys. This happens every day. This same idea on a 13.2 is the exact same idea. Wait for it. Bum, 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 bum. Is the exact same idea that gets you into the best of the best spot on the 5-1, that gives you that area where the market is likely to continue. Price accelerates away and it pulls right back and it has that great area to bounce off of when it gets there. Guys, patterns repeat themselves every day. Every day. Have you guys noticed that I talk about the same thing every day? Oh my gosh, it did it again, right? Bad top. Holy smokes. Guys, I can't even right now. Can't deal with it. 3 divergences? Really? Out of 50-50? From a bad top? Does anyone else get excited about this stuff? I used to think John Novak had a crystal ball, guys. I used to think that he was in cahoots with somebody in the pits. Because when I was taking this short as a new user, going, yeah, it's red and I got momentum and life is good, I would hear John from the classroom go, and because of this pattern and where it hit, the market's likely to go up here to 75.83, to that next key area. And this is what he called unfinished business. A lot of Nexgen users, as they grow with the software, will take advantage of this look somewhere right about there. It's not a high probability trend trade. It fights the trend. It fights the momentum. But they'll use a small chart scenario to take advantage of a large chart pattern. And if they did that, that was a sweet trade, right? Right up to the trouble spot. The hardest thing to do is to do nothing. The best thing to do when there's nothing to do, guys, is crank open your 13.2 and watch this. Unfinished business, looking to finish the move. Odds favorable momentum, there's a tail. Odds favorable momentum directly into a termination condition. Fib. Unfinished business, all the way up to resistance, right back down, finishes to the fib. There's that pattern. Unfinished business, all the way up to the fib, smacks into the fib, unfinished again, ultimately finishes the move. Unfinished business, right to that pivot stop out. Over and over. Termination condition takes it right into resistance, pushes back below the mid band, finishes the move up. Guys, there is so much information that you can take from the market without having to enter a trade. There's so many opportunities in the market without having to take a trade. What do we see here? Huge move up, resistance to support to resistance, probably back to support, and we'll see if the buyers come back. I have established a pretty big fight zone. I'm going to let it break out. I'm going to let it get to the other side. And guys, I am less inclined to take a 50-50 from a consolidation moment. Doesn't mean it won't work, but there's a fight. Buyers to sellers to buyers to sellers. And now we're 50-50. We're 50-50 on that low spot. I've got divergence potential. I'm running through my checklist. I'm running through my rules. And I'm making a decision. And guys, when you see this look, buyers to sellers, look at this. Little overrun, little overrun, little overrun. Is this going to be a little overrun? These are the trades that when they win huge. And if they lose, they're going to lose fast. Because we have established a range using Fibonacci. Guys, you can see these ranges that the big institutional traders see. It is 11 o'clock. Here's what's going to happen, y'all. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go refill my water. I'm going to stretch my legs. Oh, now we're breaking. Uh-oh. Now, small and large are below resistance. Now I have odds favorable momentum. Now, I have a pretty rad area of resistance inside of favorable large triggers, but dag-nabbit, termination condition hit. Guys, I'll be back. When I come back, the last hour belongs to you. Hey, Luciano, take care. Thanks for bouncing in. The last hour belongs to you, guys. Whatever you want to talk about. I'm going to embrace my right to silence the microphone, and I'm going to let you guys lead the class for this last hour. We'll talk about the path to success one more time, and when I come back, keep me busy. Back in a few. All right, y'all, let's get into this Friday afternoon, last hour. Here we go. Oh my goodness, termination conditions for the win again, right? Great googly moogly. Gary, let's see what you got, bud. Gary says, needs to break support. Right on. So, Gary, you're incorporating a 21.3 now. I like it. If the 21.3 has a termination condition and the 13.2 is 50-50, aren't we creating issues down the line? I feel like we are. Great chart read, Gary. Good job. Tony the Tiger. It's just fun to say like that, isn't it? Let's see what happened. Tony, you said on the S&P, let me line things up, 58.58. Prices coming into that area. Everything says down, screaming from a termination condition. You get in right there at that area. You let it bounce. Every chart agrees, and you take quick profits. Arbitrary stop movement got you, right? Looks like a good day, though. $1,700. Tony's eating steak tonight. Nice job, Tony. Good job. Here we go, guys. Once again, terminations for the win. Small's above the large are wide. They're angled in the direction of the trade. I just need that little red line to break. There's your patterns again. Bad top to support. Pivot stop out to support. And it makes the next key area. You just did 3 more apex today on day 2. Nice job. Man, I'm telling you, this week, if you followed rules this week, you had a spectacular week. There's no doubt in my mind. If all you did was follow simple rules this week, you had a spectacular week. The proof's in the pudding. Raise your hand if you had a spectacular week because you followed rules. Remember that feeling, guys. I think that's so important. Remember the feeling. Remember what it feels like to win. Remember what it feels like to be consistent. Remember what it feels like when everything seems to be going your way because you wait for everything to go your way. Yeah, guys, it's been a great week. We've had a lot of you guys telling me that you got qualified on Apex. I think Paul got a couple accounts. Tony got an account. Gary, you're getting close. 10KM got funded this week. Now I have a termination condition that creates a full reversal that gives me odds favorable momentum. I have small triggers through a Fibonacci area. I have large triggers still below. I have an area right at the top of those large triggers, mid-band, right there inside of favorable large triggers. If I'm going through the process of identifying my window of opportunity, it goes from the highest point of support to the lowest point of support inside of favorable large triggers. What do you guys think? Could I take this in front of Judge Judy and defend taking a potential trade here? You know what else I notice? Do you guys know how to gauge this? There's no negative number flashing here, right? What does that mean? Well, that means that there's no divergence potential right now. So if divergence is a killer for a 50-50 trade on me, I don't have to worry about that. Is it guaranteed to come back? Not so much. But it might. Is it guaranteed to win? Not so much. But it might. Is it a high probability trade? Not so much. But what are the advantages? I have the advantage of a termination condition that created a full reversal. I have the advantage of odds favorable momentum. And guys, strong triggers breaks things. I have the advantage of identifying a window of opportunity And the bottom of that window of opportunity is supported by support that is already broken on both charts. What's my small issue? This one red line. Everything else is an advantage. Do you guys see what I just did there? I read my indicators and I made a pragmatic decision based on whether or not this is a trade I'd like to take based on that decision. And at this point, it's 100% in the hands of the fates. It's either going to fill or it's not going to fill. It's either going to win or it's going to lose. I have absolutely no say, but it's a medium probability trade that would have to be managed assertively. Anyone ever have that happen? Price hits your entry and doesn't give it to you? Happens sometimes, right? Does everyone understand what we just went through? All we did is we talked about advantages, right? We talked about what we see. We talked about whether it was good. We talked about what our problem was. Guys, I got tapped and not filled. Notice that that's on the wrong side of the mid-band. If I'd been a couple ticks above it, I'd be in this trade. And honestly, I'd already be up $100 and break even as we get into the trouble spot. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? What happens if divergence prints with strong triggers on a 50-50? Now you got to ask yourself again. If the market comes back, am I still willing to take that trade if divergence prints? Because here's a small issue, and here's another potential issue. And if divergence does print, do we expect it to take out that previous pivot? And if it takes out that previous pivot, that means that my next potential area for entry becomes 59.06. That's how my brain works. Advantages versus disadvantages, patterns creating expectations. The anticipation is overwhelming. Termination condition creates a full reversal creates odds favorable momentum smashing through areas. In the event of a reversal bar, I've got a window of opportunity. Don't I? Is it going to be quiet for the last hour, guys? Are you done? Are you guys already on the golf course? Already at the beach sipping pina coladas, getting caught in the rain? Look how much advance warning I had. Remember when you started and you're like, oh, the market's too fast. I can't get these stupid entries. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I wish it would just pull back. I know exactly what's likely to happen and where it's likely to happen because of patterns. I'm rambling. The Nexgen trading plan for the last 20 years. Termination conditions are true, meaning that all the triggers roll from a high or a low. Number 3 is your high probability trend trade. Everything says down, pulls back to an area, looking to finish the move. The next trade may be the HVA trade, tops and bottoms. Great one to study. Take some pictures, ask some questions. Guys, this plan has been consistent. John has pictures from 2005 with this exact same plan. What do you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about the path? Everybody loves this picture because everybody relates to it. Day one looks like fun. Doesn't it, Marshall? Day one, it looks like fun. Woohoo! And you're like, uh-oh, I got to learn stuff. And then you're like, I'm so good at this. About 30 days in, you are your biggest fan. And guys, this is where people go live too soon. This is where I was separated with 5,000 hard-earned dollars almost instantly. And it's deflating. And everybody goes through it. And then you come to the ever-popular I don't know shit stage. Has anyone found themselves at this stage yet? Where you started questioning if you could be a day trader? Where you started questioning what's going on? Bobby, you're there now? I've seen your charts. Do you want to know what happens? You had it. Okay. So there's a difference, isn't it? Yeah. Marshall, you're allowed to be there. You're brand new. So there's a huge difference between, man, Bobby, I'm glad you said that. Thank you. There is a giant difference between not understanding and not following, right? There's a gap. Bobby, you've had great success following a plan. And what happens, guys, when you learn to read your indicators, and I love this because this is such a normal thing for so many people. So in the beginning, this is what I call it. It's going to be story time. That's okay. This is story time, guys. So in my previous life, I was in management for a Tex-Mex restaurant in Texas, a very popular one. They're kind of all over the East Coast now. But my job as a manager, when I finally got to this position, is good. Then Bobby, take a deep breath, recollect, regroup. So my job as a manager was to train managers. My job, I had managers fly in from Florida, from the Carolinas, from Chicago. I had managers fly in from Colorado just to spend 30 days with me. Because the one thing that I was good at was systems and routines. The one thing that made me good at my job is I could create a path for anybody, whether you knew the food, whether you knew the restaurant, whether you knew the systems. I could create a path that could bring you success as a manager. That was my job, guys. My job was to teach. I taught employees how to sell. I created most of the literature that they still use to this day for alcohol sales and bar sales. But what I did is I created a checklist for managers. And when I created this checklist for managers, every manager that came through was brilliant. And every manager appeared to be a prodigy. And every manager was so smart. And what a great find. And the headhunters did a great job. And right about 30 days, they started to believe that they were infallible. And they ditched the checklist. And the second they ditched the checklist, these people were losing money. They were making mistakes. They were pissing people off. And the reality is that you get to a point where you get so comfortable because you have this amazing path to success that you quit using it. And I used to call it the 30-day stupid. And I know that you're not supposed to say stupid, but the 30-day stupid is a very real thing. In terms of day trading, what the 30-day stupid is you have this great checklist that tells you that you should only be thinking short. And your brain says, but Mark, there's a blue line and this may reverse the market. And if we're the first one in, we're going to be rich. Why the next target would be 41.59? For what? Down here? I'll explain. This is the ES. Why on earth would your target... Are you ready, Safia? In an uptrend from a termination condition with odds favorable momentum and everything screaming up, yeah, why on earth would I expect it to go down? Oh, you're saying from here, if that divergence had printed, it may push lower, and that was the bottom of the window. That's it. It's not a target. It's a potential entry, but it never happened, right? That divergence potential never became true. And this 50-50 trade with no divergence just continues to go up. So what I was saying is, Safia, that's a great question. When we had created the window of opportunity right about here, it was fluctuating, right? And we could say if divergence prints, it may push lower. So 41.59 was the bottom of that window of opportunity. That's what we were saying. There now. So not the target, but maybe where the market may end up before there's a potential entry again. Does that make sense? But the reality is it just keeps going up, right? And it probably has a lot to do with that great termination condition. So if we were talking targets, I'm looking at Fibonacci resistance above me. Did that clarify a little bit? But Bobby, it's not that, and it's not even that you do anything wrong. Every day you get better at reading indicators. Would you guys agree? Every day your ability to read the indicators becomes a little clearer, a little more clear. Every day you begin to recognize patterns a little bit more. So what human nature says is that if you can recognize a pattern, your brain says, well, shit, get paid, right? So rather than trading the rules, Bobby, we begin to trade the patterns, the reads. And just because I can't go short into an area of support doesn't mean that it's a long. And just because there is a gap theory, back to the large triggers, doesn't mean that I have to fight the trend and the momentum to get back to those large triggers, because it's not guaranteed. So Bobby, what you're doing is a normal part of the process, right? It's like the cha-cha. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to experience some success. Your brain's going to tell you that you are an absolute badass. And you're going to believe your brain, because your brain's not going to lie to you, right? Never does. So you're going to deviate a little bit from that plan. You're going to deviate from that thing that was bringing you success, because you believe that you're going to find success through your ability to read charts, rather than finding success through what's been proven. So how to fix that? Are you ready? You got away from strong tops and bottoms only? And you were making money making sure that you had strong tops and bottoms, right? That's it. Why do we chase more? So instead of looking for those extra trades, why not just tack a couple contracts on when it's the absolute best? And that's the struggle that we all get into, guys. You know what works, but you get bored sometimes. You know what gives you an advantage, right? So it is, and you'll forget it again, Bobby. I've forgotten that lesson 100 times. I don't mind telling you guys. Guys, I screw up just like everybody else. Some days I form opinions. Sometimes I break my rules because I let my read take the lead rather than my rules. I do it. Everybody does it. I haven't met anybody that doesn't. How did you convince yourself, Mary? That's it. This is beautiful. Guys, this is how you use a spreadsheet. And Mary, at the risk of just boosting your ego, that's your spreadsheet too. Guys, I've never found anybody that does as well as Mary. So Mary, thank you for this. Look what's on here. This is the type of trade, what she was doing. This is the date. This is how she felt. Whether it was 50-50 or clear path, whether it was coming from a weak or strong bottom, what her trigger lines look like, what her 5-1 looked like, what her target looked like. Over and over, right? No trade. So you had to find this pattern and get in there. You get timid now, Bobby? That's fair. If you're getting timid, go back. Take a day and scroll back and look for strong bottoms, strong tops in the trades that follow. Rebuild your confidence in it. Everybody has a plan till they get hit, right? Everybody has a plan until they get hit. Bobby, you're just fine. Mary, thank you for sharing that. And it's just railing up, guys. All right, let's see if it comes true. 50-50, really strong. If that second divergence prints, it's probably going to take out this pivot. And if it takes out that pivot, that's my area where it's most likely to continue from because it's below the previous pivot, the Pineski. But wouldn't it be a 50-50 with two divergences? That may not be your trade. But let's just play the patterns game and see what happens. And what happens, and Bobby, this is one of those things where I can look at this chart right now and I can say, well, two divergences with all of these triggers up from a good bottom. My brain says the pattern is 64.75 is the most likely spot for this thing to continue up from. But my rules say don't take a 50-50 with two divergences and the small triggers inside of the large. But my patterns have me making potentially bad decisions. Guys, we all do it, right? Trading the read rather than the rules. So focus on your rules. Let your rules be solid. Let your rules create advantages. And now we're not 50-50 anymore, guys. Now it's, I'm obligated. I'm obligated to put a limit order at the area of support inside of favorable large triggers because I have odds favorable momentum and absolutely no termination conditions. And guys, this is nothing more than me showing you how to take a pre-trade picture. Are the rules met? If so, my plan says I have to. I don't have a choice. And the market changes, right? It moves and it shakes and it does different things and you may have to readjust. Who's done this one? Well, that mid-band's down here. Let me get below that area of support inside of favorable large triggers because I'd hate to watch it go against me 2 ticks. How many trades have you missed like that? It's just patterns. Odds favorable, losing momentum, right? As I lose momentum, the small triggers come inside of the large. Now my areas are finding themselves outside of favorable large triggers. Just looking at it and talking about my rules, guys. What do I see? Divergence from beyond the area. What's the lesson? What's the first potential spot? Mid-band, right? First potential spot's the mid-band. Can't even see it on this one. Is it overrun? I don't know. Multiple divergences suggest that it may be, but my large triggers are still above resistance. My small triggers haven't made it through this area. You could try to predict what the market's going to do, or you can wait for your rules to be met. But patterns tell me that a pivot from beyond the areas where all the triggers have broken with divergence is likely to push to the midband. Doesn't mean that I'm going short, but if I am short, I know where a good spot to take profits is. What do your rules say? Do your rules say with this strong trigger look, and no divergence on a pullback to the midband and resistance, will you take a momentum style entry to get to that trouble spot? If you did, you just got paid. But you have to have rules for it, guys. You need a checklist. Did you guys learn anything this week? Is anybody one step closer? I hope so. I hope so. I hope that you're taking time to recognize, guys, if you have a move forward, recognize it. It's easy to focus on the negative, right? It's easy to focus on the mistakes you make. It's easy to focus on the shortcomings you think you have. Celebrate small victories, guys, every time. One piece of the puzzle. There are no bad days. There's just bad moments in a day that you can choose to dwell on if you want. Good. Mary, one step closer. Mary, you're doing the study. You got no worries. You're going to be there. Isn't that impressive, Paul? If I asked you guys to show me a picture of your spreadsheet right now, what would it look like? What would it look like if you took a picture of your spreadsheet? Who wants to show off? Who wants to show me all the hard work that they've put in? There's mine. There's a picture of mine. And that's your trades, guys. These are trades that I stole from class. I don't think any of these belong to me. And then here's the next question. If you have a spreadsheet, Mary, I'm going to put you on the spot if that's okay. Mary, do you go back and look at the trades that you take and study them? Or do you just take a picture and put it in there because that's what you're supposed to do? Who actually studies what they did yesterday to be better today? That's why you reorganized it. Because it's imperative to go back and look, right? Have you guys ever gone out and played a horrible round of golf and expected to be better the next time out just because you played? You ever watched a video of Tiger Woods and expect to be better next time you played? There you go, Mary. Recognizing patterns, right? You know what would have been amazing? If when you were struggling with 50-50s, you would have showed up to class and posted them. Take a little time. Be a little selfish. Man, I keep losing these. Mark, give me a little insight. That's what I'm here for. I don't care if you're an owner or a demo or a lease. I don't care if it's been a day or a year. Guys, I want to help you. This is fun for me. This is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Not really. But I do like what I do. And I love helping you guys. And it really does. You didn't realize it until you started tracking wins-loss? Sounds like a perfect use of the spreadsheet, Mary. Great job, and thank you for sharing that today. Anything can happen triggers. Divergence. Anything can happen triggers. It's a bad top, right? I wonder if that weakness is going to push us back to a midband and support. It doesn't have to. But since these are outside of favorable large triggers, a little iffy on it. I don't think that one fits my spread or my checklist. A lot of opportunities in the market, guys. You don't have to be in every one of them. Fridays are the best day of the week. I like it. So guys, take a page out of Mary's book. It is an amazing plan. John just sent me a message how impressed he was with it. All right, so let's review. Let's do the end of the week review, guys. To minimize your learning curve, post your pictures in class over and over, every trade, win, lose, or draw. And if you win, the rules are wrong. Earl, you passed it. That's 4 this week, guys. Earl, congratulations. You're a great student. That's what it is. Don't give me the credit for y'all's wins, guys. All I do is say the same thing over and over. You guys are executing the plan and doing great things. It can be done. It can be done. Earl, you know it works. Let's change that purple check mark to a green one. Take advantage of that flash sale. Guys, post your pictures in class, every trade, win, lose, or draw. And if you win and the rules are wrong, you have a short-term victory, but a long-term failure, right? Has anyone ever done that? Anybody? I will, Gary, I promise. I always do. It's important to know the difference, guys. Get that feedback every time you take a trade. Get feedback, even the good ones. Get feedback. Sometimes it just feels good to get that virtual high five, right? That little ego boost, that confidence from the memory of success. Don't forget the outline. Post pictures, use that spreadsheet, guys. Keep it simple. Simulate, post pictures. Keep doing it until you're always taking the right trades. Use that checklist. Trade a plan that you know wins more than it loses. It's been proven. You've back tested it. Annotate your charts every time. Even if you're not giving it to me, annotate your charts. Are you following the rules? How did you feel? I love this one. It's Friday. John's coming in. I might as well stop talking. And then, guys, we just saw the value in this. Create a database of all the things that are going to get you into the room, right? I thought you were going to come play with us, John. Once you get those entries nailed, work on your management, guys. Go through it. And then this is the part that we're seeing this week, guys. We're seeing a lot of success from you. Accept that you may be a less capable trader than you initially believed your first time out. Everyone feels entitled to win, but only the people that trade well do. Before risking your money, test your trading plan using the prop firm, right? Safia, you had a great realization that when it got real, you realize that maybe you have some small trust issues. Once it gets real, you may talk yourself out of taking rules-based trade. Once it gets real, you might be so worried about losing money that you forgot that you're there to make it. Test it, right? Use their money. For like $35, you can control $50,000. Pass their test. You trade your plan. Let them fund you. I'm reading yours. Guys, there's no penalty for being cautious. The actual harm comes from thinking you're a better trader than you are and blowing out a large sum of your capital. I've done it. So I'm going to share this one more time, guys. This is the one. Read it a couple times. Go back and study. Let me do this for you. I've done this every day for the last 3 weeks, but I'm going to do it again. Guys, this is my spreadsheet. You have the whole weekend. Click on every one of these links and get graded entries. Click on every one of these links and believe in the entries. And then come back next week with a huge confidence in your ability to get in at the best spot. And work from there. Gary? Good top or bottom, yes. Termination conditions, no. Odds favorable momentum, anything can happen triggers, yes. Area for entry, no. Odds favorable on the 8 range? No. No trade, right? What a great picture. My rules aren't met. My checklist hasn't been fulfilled. Therefore, I'm not entering the market. Hardest thing to do is nothing when your rules aren't met. Guys, this is crude oil. Bad top, pushes all the way down almost to the mid-band. Large triggers don't follow. Closes the gap to the large triggers. We're at resistance again. Not looking for shorts. Too soon for longs. Sitting on my hands. Sitting on my hands. All right, let's look at your questions, Paul. Have I found that medium probability trades have a better win percentage on stronger trending days? Yes. Yes, I do. That's a great question. And that went back to what we were talking about earlier, right? If the market, and let's look at the 13-2. This isn't a strong trending day, is it? We had a great run up. We had some indecision. And we're not really strong trending yet, right? So yeah. And Paul, that's when these trades have a higher chance of winning and those strong trending days. When there's lots of movement and opportunities, no, I haven't found a correlation between 50-50s winning more, medium probability trades winning more when there's a lot of movement. Because there's a lot of movement. I've found, and man, this is such a Sunday school answer, I've found that trades tend to win more when the rules are met. Just because there's a lot of movement doesn't mean that the risks are less. It means that there's a lot of movement and those bad choices may move against you a little bit faster, right? You might get stopped out quicker on that trade without advantages. So just because it's moving a lot. So I try not to give away too many advantages. And I encourage new users to not give away too many advantages. And you'll learn when it's okay, right? You'll learn your rules and learn how to break them. Guys, I don't even know what John's other charts look like, but this sure looks like a pullback to resistance right there at the large triggers for a win. Nice trade, John. Quick profits. No worries, Dave. So let's do it like this. I'm going to go to the rules here. When I talk about a strong top, I'm talking about a Fibonacci-based area, not just a pivot stop out. I love a good pivot stop out, guys. There's a pivot stop out. Man, but we're on the other side of that key area. It's coming from the other side. For me, this is just a termination condition. Does that make sense, Dave? There's no Fibonacci area supporting it. When I have a Fibonacci area supporting that termination, that termination condition is coming from a Fibonacci-based indicator. Absolutely none of my trigger lines have broken through it. This is my requirement for a strong bottom or for a strong top. If it results, if it pushes through the area, even with divergence, I'm not considering this a strong bottom. It's not even a termination condition, it's just a pivot. The result is the same every time, Dave? There's an overrun and a pullback. There's an overrun. That one works out well, right? There's a termination condition, solid and true. That's a strong bottom. and we're getting a pretty good reaction from it. That's a strong bottom, and we're getting a pretty good reaction from it. That's a weak bottom, and the market continues down. That's a weak top, but it still works, right? So the key is to identify. It's just identify. That has the potential to be a strong top, but the triggers never follow. So just because it's a strong top, just because it's a strong bottom, doesn't mean that everything's guaranteed to win after it, but it increases the likelihood. This weak top took you right down to a very great termination condition. Doesn't mean there wasn't an opportunity somewhere in here. But when are we really using strong tops or bottoms? When it's a really strong top or bottom, the odds of this trend trade coming after a termination condition that creates a full reversal goes up exponentially. Does that make sense, Dave? Because this right here is still a rock star trade. It's still odds favorable, everything up. It's still a good one. But what I'm saying here is the percentage, the win percentage on this trade is not as amazing as the win percentage on this trade. So when we talk about trades that come from a strong top or bottom, you're talking about the absolute best of the best. You're talking about the 100%, everything in your favor, nothing in your way. Holy smokes, this is amazing. This one's probably going to win 70 to 80% of the time. And that's how we're using it. There's this certain level of kickassery that comes from it. But it's not a prerequisite, right? It's not a mandatory thing, and I even put that on the checklist that I share with you guys. This one will increase the likelihood of success, but it's not mandatory. I like using the strong tops and bottoms, Dave, on 50-50 trades. Making a decision to take a 50-50 trade, the likelihood of success goes up from a strong top or bottom. The likelihood of success goes up without divergence. So it's just gauging those advantages, and those strong tops and bottoms are one advantage. And then another thing is if you're looking for a high volume area trade, if you're expanding a little bit and you're looking for that HVA to take advantage of those tops or bottoms, well, then that strong top or bottom becomes mandatory. And that's what creates the opportunity for success. So great question. I'll talk about tops and bottoms all day long. And Bobby, before we get into yours, Dave, one thing, where did it go? I believe it's in the termination condition section. No, there is a tops and bottoms video that John put together. And I'm not sure where it went. Trading the edges, tops and bottoms. There we go. It took me a second to get there. Let me grab the link for you. This is about an hour video. John talks very slowly and deliberately in his videos. I always bump them up to 1.25 speed, and I still get everything out of it. But this is a great one. If you're studying tops and bottoms, that's going to help you out a lot. All right, Bobby T, let's see what you did. Termination condition creates a full reversal. Let's look at the next picture. Right on. Oh no, Paul, you're just understanding what he's saying more, I think. Bobby, can we just look at this picture for the lesson? Is the market coming from a good top or bottom? I'm going to use checklists as well. I'm going to say yes. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Do I have odds favorable momentum? I'm going to say yes. Bobby, this is where you and I are going to have to agree to disagree. No termination conditions on the 13.2. I say that's a resounding no. You went head first into a Fibonacci area of resistance, and not only were your trigger lines not through it, hey Ron, have a great weekend, man. Not only did your trigger lines not get through it, look at where your large triggers are in relationship to that reversal bar marker. So not only did we trade into a termination condition, not we, you did it. I had nothing to do with it. But you also went headlong into the gap theory, saying that if price pulls away from the synthetic triggers too fast and too far into a Fibonacci area, it'll snap back to the triggers. You went straight into a termination condition and the large triggers were more than a full bar away, which means that any trade taken in this vacuumous gap between the top of price and those large triggers typically gets run over. But you did have an area inside of favorable large triggers, and it's not the 50-50. Does that make sense, Bobby? You traded into a termination condition, and it got you. And this goes back to our conversation. A good top or bottom isn't guaranteed a win. The rules still have to be met. You took it, oh, yeah. And guys, anytime I annotate a chart and you want me to put it back in the room for you, I always will. And let's put this one on there real quick, Bobby. Gap theory in play here. Price hits fib, large below reversal bar marker. So there's a couple great lessons in there. And the cool thing is that great entries create manageable trades even when there's an issue. You nailed your entry with all that momentum from a good bottom, and all that momentum gave you a retest of that trouble area. You were able to make money on this one and not lose anything. So this is fantastic execution. Oh, thank you for saying that. So you guys, you ready? I'm going to do this in all caps. There's your recipe, Bobby. Price reaches the area. Where are the triggers? The fact that they're so far below just adds fuel to the fire for this being a termination condition. Yeah, but it's always price reaches it first. Great picture, man. Great lessons. There's the annotation on there as well for the gap theory. But your management was rock star. Good job. All right, Paul, are you able to save the settings on your Snagit for your arrows and text boxes every time you restart? So what I did, good question. And it took me a long time. Bobby getting a light bulb today. We all need light bulbs. When I pull up Snagit, the one thing I did is it has all of these. I took one, and if you right click, nope, that's not it. On this one, if you use something enough, it'll add it in. What I did, Bobby, is I came through and I removed everything that I wasn't using. but I did that under each style, so it only gave me one option. And sometimes it'll throw that second option in there. That's the only way I've figured out how to do it, so I didn't have to start fresh every time, is I deleted everything in here except the one that I use every day. And I don't know, there may be an easier way to do it, but that's the one that worked for me. Because I was like you guys, every day I felt like I had to start over. Yeah. So I got frustrated and I was like, I'm gonna fix it. Guys, that's it. That's the week. I'm done with you. I wash my hands of you. Man, I'm going to have a great weekend. My kid is flying in from Austin right now. We're going to go see whales off the coast. Totally stoked on that. And even better, I bought new golf clubs yesterday. They get delivered tomorrow. My kid's cool, but the new golf clubs are coming. Ha ha. You're heading to Florida? Are you going to hook up with John? Are you going to Sarasota? Orlando? Nice. Have a good time. Sorry, I'm going to kill my screen because I'm going to start opening up my charts. I'm going to trade the rest of the day. Looking for advantages. Have a great time, man. Orlando's fun. Are you sailing your boat there? How cool would that be? Oh, take care of the mom-in-law. You are a good kid. Paul, what did you do? Do I need to bring up my screen again? You guys can see it, right? Paul took that medium probability and made a lot of money on it. Is that runner going to get there? I don't know. It may bounce a couple times before it does. Nice trade, Paul. The answer is no. It's not going to get there. Oh, no. I didn't have to open my screen. Awesome, man. That sounds like so much fun. I'm in the Pacific Northwest until the end of June. Sophia, have a great weekend. Hey, good job today. How did it turn? Oh, you don't have to tell us in the room. Hopefully you had a great day today on your first day at Apex. And if you didn't, remember, it is not indicative of your abilities. You just got to get over that little hump, right? It's just that, okay, here I am. Let me do everything that got me here. That's the thing to do. Guys, I will see you Monday morning bright and early. I'm